The COVID-19 pandemic has been a huge jolt, that is to say the least, and investors are panicking. They're not sure what to do at this point. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this very, very special webinar. Ramadan Kareem, firstly, to everyone, and hope everyone is staying safe at this time. We're living in unprecedented times. There's no doubt about it. According to the International Monetary Fund, in fact, the world is likely to experience its worst recession since the Great Depression in 2020. Now, in such a scenario where volatility is at its peak, investors both locally and globally are at a loss to understand what is going on. They're not aware of market trends, not sure where to invest. You see gold prices shooting up. Is that the best safe haven right now? Or should we be looking at tech stocks? What do you do next? Now, to better understand the investment outlook, we have with us today Vijay Valecha, the Chief Investment Officer at Century Financial. Thank you so much for joining us today, Vijay.
Thanks, Aarti.
We'll start off with, the very basic question. The COVID-19 pandemic has been a huge jolt, that is to say the least, and investors are panicking. They're not sure what to do at this point. What is your advice to them right now?
Absolutely. What we have seen, Aarti, is an unprecedented situation. We have never ever witnessed a recession come in so fast and so deep. It is a time which has actually shaken everybody from what they believed was right and what they believe can go in the forward as well. Honestly speaking, it's very difficult to actually gauge the situation and give an outlook on what could happen in the future. But yes, gold has proven to be a safe haven, and so have other instruments like the Japanese yen and the Swiss franc. The safe havens have pretty much remained the same. Although one thing that we have seen that has changed is treasury bonds have actually crashed in the start of this COVID-19 pandemic. So we actually have to assess what actually is a safe haven in today's world. As of now, we do see that gold, yen, and Swiss franc do happen as safe havens. Although the biggest problem that actually happened in the world was liquidity, and the liquidity crisis has been the biggest issue.
How do you address a liquidity crisis? Now, from an investor perspective, what can you do?
From an investor perspective, the best thing that a person can do is diversification. People actually get really overconfident when it comes to a bull market, and people tend to forget that bull markets are always something that will be finite. We can never have an infinite bull run. So people tend to forget that, and people get over carried away. That is something which has to be remembered, that no matter how strong or how fundamentally strong the bull run is, it will come to an end. Of course, nobody had ever thought that the bull run would come to an end due to a virus coming in. But again, we have seen in the markets that unexpected things do happen, and they have happened again. What a person should also do is never be over leveraged. People usually tend to get very highly over leveraged in the markets, which is a huge problem. A third thing that people should learn, that there should be enough liquidity or enough cash reserve ratio that they should be keeping for investing when a time like this comes.
Your first point was diversification. Let's take that up. Now, looking at the UAE specifically, every asset manager I've spoken to in the past has always stressed on this, diversify your assets, do that. But is that happening in the true sense of the term, if you look at the UAE?
So in the UAE, actually, investors are actually quite well diversified. The main reason being UAE being a financial hub actually has the option of diversification for all asset classes across the world. People in other countries don't really have the liberty to diversify into different asset classes and different geographical locations, whereas UAE has that unique advantage. A lot of people, a lot of investors still don't really take the advantage of that, and that is something that has to be learned. That real estate is a great investment, definitely. Equities is a great investment, definitely. Bonds is a great investment, definitely. But all put together become a good investment. If we look at just one asset class at a time, one can really outperform the other, and the other one can be slacking. But when we look over a longer period of time, the combination of all is what will get the best returns out from everybody else.
In the local market, coming back to diversification, if you look at family businesses, a lot of them tend to invest within the business, and a local favorite has also been real estate for a long period of time. Has that changed since the financial crisis, and is that continuing to change?
So the real estate sector has actually started coming off since 2008, and that actually I think has been continuing trend that people don't really want to put all the assets in real estate. That was a lesson well learned in 2008, and I think it's a continuing to learn lesson. Real estate is a great investment. In fact, in Dubai, it's actually considered one of the safer investments when it comes to a fixed income portfolio. You can actually consider it as a fixed income portfolio which generates around 5.5 to 6% yield. Though a great yield, to be really honest, from the best in the world, but definitely we have to realize that the capital depreciation on real estate has been huge. So
Yes.
that is something which people have to really learn forward, going forward as well. And also when it comes to people investing in their own businesses, definitely it's always a good idea. People should always invest in their own businesses. Also in their own business, people should learn to diversify. Most people just grow verticals and horizontals in businesses. The idea is always to keep growing horizontally and vertically in a business so that you can actually keep growing the business in a much more larger scale and try to be as recession proof as you can.
You use the word recession proof. Is it possible to be recession proof for an investor?
So of course, there are certain sectors that we look at as recession proof. And this recession, especially we have seen the tech sector is absolutely recession proof. We have seen companies like Amazon, Netflix, Google actually hit all-time highs when the recession hit in. So that is something which we're looking at as tech sector. We also look at other sectors like medical, education, which are lesser intensified when it comes to the downfall and recession. So of course, there's nothing which is completely recession proof, but when we look at sectors which actually do better than other sectors when it comes to a downfall is what we should be actually investing in if we can't directly get into business into that.
Talking about geographical locations, is it also possible to have like a good portfolio which is divided across the world? Which are the regions that you're most bullish about at this point?
So the best thing that COVID-19 has done has made it a very, very clear zone of which are investment regions and which are investment countries to get into. The best areas, of course, have continued to be since 2008 have been the Southeast Asia. And that I think still continues. We have seen South Korea being probably the best country to handle this situation. They were actually in the best place. They were the first people to get out of the situation as well. So yes, South Korea being also a very, very good export hub right now will be one of the best investment opportunities. Also, China, no matter how bad the situation is, no matter if the virus started from there or not, is of course a debate. But yes, it remains one of the best investment opportunities. I find India also a great investment opportunity because anybody who wants to actually shift their business from China will look at India as a great investing zone to get into. Besides those, of course, we have seen that US still remains the number one place to invest. It has always been and it will continue to be. The US markets were the first to rebound when actually we hit rock bottom, and they're the fastest growing even now. So US definitely is the topmost region to invest in.
Is it possible to have a perfect if you had to describe a perfect portfolio right now, what would it be?
Right now, the perfect portfolio, of course, there's no such thing as a perfect portfolio, but if it comes down to if I have to generalize, because of course, a portfolio depends on your age, your income, and more importantly, your savings. But let's say if I had to give a generalized term of a decent portfolio, it would be somewhere around if we have a 40% allocation to equities. But of course, the equities have to be diversified across all sectors and across all regions. Besides that, I actually think that bonds might not be the greatest investment as of now. Given the current situation, we actually will see a lot of companies default. There will be a liquidity crunch coming in across the world. So bonds is something I will actually stay away from, even if they're BBB rated or BB rated. It's something that is not the best investment when it comes to fixed income. When it comes to fixed income, we can actually get into structured products, getting into real estate at a lower price because we should be seeing a correction coming in even further from now will be a much better zone. And then we should have an allocation because we have seen that every recession brings in a wave of a completely new series coming in. So the last recession, we saw companies like Uber coming in. We saw companies like WhatsApp coming in. So I think private equity sector will really grow. Having a 20-25% allocation to private equity along with other alternative investments like we can look at venture capitals. We can actually look at hedge funds to get into right now because the markets are quite discounted right now. That'll be a good zone to at least have 20-25% of the allocation. Besides that, I also feel that people should be investing in real businesses. So that is something that people really should get into.
What is, could you elaborate on that when you say real businesses?
So real businesses, the idea being that when real estate is down, it actually corresponds to the economy being cheaper on the side if you actually have investments to actually put in, is to start businesses. And the UAE government is really encouraging people to get into the manufacturing side in this part of the world. So anybody who wants to get into the manufacturing side, this is probably a good time to get into it. And it need not be a really, really large scale manufacturing unit. You can actually have very small scale manufacturing units in Jebel Ali right now. And the government is getting really good subsidies for those.
What is your take on sovereign bonds? We've seen a lot of governments issuing bonds now. What's your take on that?
Sovereign bonds are of course safe, but again, depends on which country. So of course, when you're going for a country which is in junk bond status, it's something which is to be avoided. The good countries, honestly speaking, it's very safe to get into, but the yields are very low. And in such a market, I think such a low yield is not something people should be getting into. People should be looking for at least a yield of 5.5%.
And they can expect that right now as well.
They should be expecting that.
Okay. In terms of just looking at overall challenges, yes, this is a huge challenge that we're facing right now. But more broadly speaking, what are the challenges that investors locally face?
Locally, the major problem investors face is the lack of education. People actually don't really know what is out there. People don't really know what they can be investing in. So people should really be aware of what all opportunities they have, because being in UAE has a unique proposition, like I started with, that we can be investing in pretty much across the world. We don't really need to have a diversification just locally or have a diversification just into the real estate sector. The unique advantage that UAE investors have is what they should be having education about, and that is a major challenge right now.
Looking beyond COVID-19, what should investors do to be better prepared for situations like this? Let's hope we never have to face something like this. But, in case you do, how do you deal with it?
Absolutely. I agree with you that I hope we never face a situation like this. We actually, at Century, we were actually expecting and we were prepared for a recession to come in by the end of the year. So our clients were not really badly affected, but honestly, nobody thought a recession would come in so fast and so badly. People should actually be looking that going forward, they should always have an account which is a liquidity account, where they should actually have liquidity to actually capitalize on such opportunities. So we saw a 35% fall in the S&P index, which has recovered 20% from there. And people mostly couldn't capitalize on that opportunity because they didn't have a reserve fund. People should look towards building a reserve fund where they can be investing in opportunities when such an event comes. Of course, we hope that such an event doesn't come. But again, the idea being that 20% should be parked into some liquid funds, which actually yield them probably around 2 to 2.5% itself. But when the time comes, when the opportunity comes, they actually have a reserve fund where they can just remove the money and put into equities or any other asset class that actually gives such an opportunity. The second thing that we should be learning that is diversification. Like I started with, it is the key. It is something that people should be really invested in. People should really try to understand the real need for diversification. So diversification, if I look at stocks like Amazon, Google, and Netflix, and if I put all my money in these three stocks, it's also not diversification because I'm putting it all into one sector.
Right.
That sector, no doubt, the biggest booming sector, but it's also the most overvalued sector. So people should really look forward to that. How should we get into diversification into safer sectors as well?
From Century's perspective, you mentioned you were kind of expecting a recession end of the year. So when you conveyed that to your investors, what is kind of the reaction that you got from them, and how did you manage to convince them about the way ahead?
It's absolutely impossible to convince investors that the recession is coming. Of course, because the fundamentals of the market were so strong, it was actually very difficult. And of course, nobody expected that it will come through a virus. We actually expected a slowdown to come in the markets because we expected that the job growth rate will slow in US. That did happen, but it happened a little much more faster. We have seen unemployment claims touching the highest levels even since 2008. So we have actually seen an unprecedented market. But yes, it was difficult to convince investors. Many people did get convinced. Many people did not get convinced. The valuations were high. The valuations, to be honest, even right now are high in the market. So we can expect a double dip markets going forward as well.
What is the way ahead right now? Like, we are still in kind of a flux situation. We are still working out of home, all of us. The economy still doesn't seem to have any clear track of where it's headed. So what is the way ahead for the economy itself, global economy, you think? And how can people have more clarity?
So when it comes to the economy, I think the economy is really badly hit, and the economy will continue to be badly hit for the rest of the year and probably even halfway through 2021. When it comes to the markets, the equity markets, the bond markets probably might recover by the end of the year, but the economy is definitely going to be badly hit. We have seen a lot of loss of jobs, and we have seen a lot of loss of companies go down in this recession.
Right.
And I think this is probably just the start. I think we'll see a much bigger credit crunch going forward. So the best way to prepare for it is, again, every investor, every person should have a reserve fund where if they actually have a downfall in the company, or if they're downsizing their company, or if people are losing their jobs, they should be having enough reserves to at least last 3 to 5 months before they can find a new job, because the situation is not going to get good really fast. At the same time, we should be optimistic, and we can expect that the markets will recover at least, and that will be a good sign.
How bullish are you about the local markets itself, looking at the GCC and the UAE specifically?
Coming to the GCC, the major problem and about the markets have been the fall in oil. We have seen oil almost 85% down this year, and that has been, and we have seen actually oil futures go into the negative territory, something that none of us had ever thought of. And honestly, something that we are not prepared for. I mean, we had read in, I mean, I'd learned it in the CFA books that it is actually possible that we could see negative territory, but we all thought it was just theoretical. We never thought it's actually practical. But it has happened, and I think that's the major impact. But I think, honestly speaking, right now, the global demand for oil is somewhere around 110 million barrels per day. We are right now only in consumption of 60 million barrels per day, but I think that number, once the flights start taking off, I think once the lockdown stops, and I think we'll probably in 6 to 8 months' time, we should be getting back to 100 million barrels capacity of demand of oil. And I think that will pick up the local markets. And that, I think, should be enough for the local markets to actually survive for this really bad year. And then I think next year with the expo coming in, I think UAE markets should start doing really well.
For investors right now, a lot of them are also losing money through, because of loss of business, because of different reasons. So is now a good time to keep cash reserves with them, whatever they have, or is it better for them? Like, some of them may be thinking, okay, I have some little bit of liquidity. Should I keep it with me, or should I invest this, especially when I'm losing money somewhere else? What should you be doing right now?
The idea being, if it's a small cash reserve, it should be kept as a cash reserve. No matter how good the opportunity, there could be a better one. I mean, there's nobody to say that this is the end of the coronavirus situation. We have known it to be a mutant virus, and we don't know how long it can spread. So honestly, investments should be done only with capital that are extremely excess. Anybody with a cash reserve ratio which actually has it, I feel that anybody who has an income of X amount should be keeping a 10% as a cash reserve. If anything on excess of 10% of cash reserve should be invested, but the rest of it should be kept as cash reserve.
For investors who have lost money, who have already losing money, what is your advice to them? I mean, it can also, it can get depressing as well, and it can put you off. So how do you go through this phase, because there are ups and downs, of course, but for probably many new investors as well who have lost money, what is your advice to them?
For investors who have lost money, honestly speaking, for the new investors, I think it is a very good learning lesson. I started my career in 2008, and I think seeing a recession at the start of your investment zone is probably the best thing that can happen to you, because you're always more risk averse than you can ever be. You're always cautious, and you're never greedy. That, I think, is a very good thing. I mean, losing money at the start, but people who have actually invested over a longer period of time and have lost money, I think it's just important to keep the faith and just continue to hold positions, and the markets and the economy will improve. It will just probably take a couple of years, but it will actually happen. The idea is not to get panicked at a situation like this, because panic is what actually causes the losses. As long as people are not over leveraged, and as long as they can hold their positions, they should continue to do so. And the markets will show a proper rebound probably in the second half of the year itself.
Okay. And how is the investment landscape, do you think, going to change after all of this, after we come out? You mentioned about, becoming more risk averse. So is our risk appetites going to significantly change once we come out of all this? Is it going to be very different?
Honestly speaking, I've seen investors have a very short term memory. So yes, going for the next 1 year, people will actually be really risk averse. People will actually be really cautious while investing. But I think given 1 or 2 years in the bull run, people tend to forget that. The important thing is that people should remember that such things, unprecedented events, can happen. We have seen Black Swan events come in the past as well. We have seen Six Sigma events happen. We cannot forget that the 1998 financial crisis, which started from Thailand, which was expected to be a very, very small recession, actually went out to actually wipe out literally half the world economy. We can't forget the Great Depression, which started as a very small thing from the tulips, actually created the depression, which was unprecedented and which we can still just learn about. So people should learn it and people should remember it. And I feel as much as people can be risk averse, they should be. No matter how important or how great the opportunity is, as long as you're not very highly leveraged and if you're not very greedy, I think the markets will give a decent return throughout the year.
On the other side of the spectrum, we've also seen asset managers. You have lots of asset managers here right now. The market is massive because you have a lot of investment, you have a lot of millionaires, you have a lot of wealth in this region. So, and many times you get different kinds of advice coming in. So, how do you stay level-headed? And from Century's side, what do you advise to all your clients?
So we actually advise to our clients that a lot of our clients actually are against the millennials. And I feel that it's not time to be against the millennial way of thinking and the millennial way of investing, because that is probably the future. So millennials actually think of investing in water, think of investing in renewable sources of energy, and actually think of all those things. And actually that is the future. We should be actually, instead of opposing those investments, we should be embracing them. We actually should be looking at those opportunities right now. We at Century actually have created a fund which is basically renewable sources of energy fund. We have created share baskets for those. So we actually expect people to follow that trend rather than to just oppose it. When it comes to actually investing, even when it comes to investing in the millennials, where it comes to investing in the businesses. So when we have seen tech sector, the tech sector is pretty much millennial based. But people like my mother who never learned how to use Zoom, and people who have learned it in this recession. Because of the lockdown, everybody pretty much has learned it. So I think it's something that we have to embrace, because technology is also definitely something that is going to be part of our lives going forward. In fact, at Century, although the lockdown started although mid of March, we actually started our lockdown at the start of March. And our CEO actually, when it started in China in Feb itself, we got all our technology done that we could work from home. And we got it sorted out in the first week of Feb itself, so that we could actually be on lockdown from March itself, even before it actually hit the UAE. That is something which everybody should be learning from, that no matter what industry we are in, and we are in an essential industry, we have to meet clients every day, but we are doing pretty much fine just meeting clients on face-to-face over Zoom. So that is something which we have to keep adapting over time.
And do your investors feel, are you able to reassure them the same way as you would face-to-face? What kind of a reaction are you seeing from them? Have you seen major changes, or how has it been?
So of course, being pretty old school myself, I also don't really like to interact with people over the computer. I prefer to meet face to face. I like a handshake. But of course, given the situation, we have to understand that work has to be done this way. And it's something which we are all learning right now. It's something that is not something we have done out of choice, but it's something done out of compulsion. And we have to realize that, of course, business is affected. And I would say that it is also a bad time, because you obviously miss the human interaction, and which we can never get through a computer. But it's something which we are all learning, we are all adapting. It's something that everybody should just try to understand. And I think technology can be put into every business in this part of the world, especially because I can understand countries which don't really have the infrastructure in place, but Dubai actually has a great infrastructure in place where everything can be done over technology. So I think every business, every industry should learn to adapt towards this change.
Going forward, again, you mentioned about sustainability and those kind of causes. Another thing which we've seen here is growth and transparency. We've seen the NMC situation that's just happened, all the saga. So do you think that is also another trend that investors are looking for? Are they looking for transparency from investments? Are they getting it as well, regionally, locally speaking?
Absolutely. We work very closely with ESCA, with the central bank, and we have seen that regulations are getting tighter and tighter. And I think it's pretty much high time that they do, because transparency is probably the key to investing. You wouldn't want to invest in a company where the financials look very good, but the financials are fake. The regulations have become stricter, and I think need to get more and more stricter, because transparency is one of the key pillars where people invest in. People have to believe in the company they invest in and the industry they invest in. So I think transparency has to come in, and it has already come in, especially in this region. I think the regulators are very proactive, and I think other regions also, with the ESMA being extremely proactive nowadays, we are seeing that coming into Europe also. SEC has always, US has been extremely good at this The SEBI in India also has been extremely good at this. So this is something which all regulators have to keep learning, and there's something which really helps investors to believe in the equity markets and also the bond markets. The regulators are getting stricter, and that's always a good sign going forward.
Lastly, you've given me a rough idea of what to expect, but what is two things that I want from you? One is, what is your outlook, overall investment outlook, both short term and longer term? And two is, what is your immediate advice? If you had to say 5 quick tips to investors, what would they be?
On the short-term basis, I don't think we're out of the recession, although the equity markets are suggesting that. I do believe that there's a definite chance of a double dip recession that we can see. On the long-term basis, I still think the markets are extremely discounted right now when it comes to equity space, and that is something which people should be investing in right now. When we look at the long-term horizon, markets are even if a double dip does come in, probably buy more, and it'll be a great opportunity to get in. When we look at 5 quick tips to get in, we have seen gold being a really good safe haven. We have actually seen it rally. Even if we see a small dip from here, it'll be a great time to buy. Even a 1620 level will be a great time to buy. Besides that, we have seen the tech sector do really well, which is number 2, is the tech sector has done really well, and I think will continue to do well. Companies like Amazon, Netflix, Google, even companies like Zoom that we're talking on right now, it should continue doing well. Companies like Alibaba. So there are a lot of companies in the tech sector that should be doing really well, are good to get into. On number 3, we should be looking at companies in the energy sector because they're highly discounted. We have seen companies like Chevron, Exxon, Schlumberger fall by around 70% this year from last year's highs. So energy sector is definitely one to invest in. Even the dividend yields going forward will actually be at 8.5%. So that is going to be something which we should be looking towards investing in. That'll be a growth sector to invest in. And number 4, we should be looking at regions, something like in India or South Korea, where companies will grow at a much higher rate than other companies and other industries that should be investing in. And lastly, number 5, we should never forget the Japanese yen. The Japanese yen has actually been a better safe haven than gold in all recessions that we have seen so far since the Great Depression in 1929. And I think that will continue to do so.
Any hidden gem that most people are missing out on?
I think hidden gems.
For you.
So favorite for me right now, see, again, given my age, I would love the energy sector. I'm really getting into it. But yes, given each person's age and savings level, it is a different story. But I think hidden gems in the energy sector are huge. But if we look at just a stock specific that is great to get into, I think Uber is a great buy at these levels.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Vijay, for your time. I think anything else that you would like to add from Century side and for investors?
From Century side, we just want all our clients to be leveraged at the right amount, not be excessively greedy, so that such situations can be managed very easily, because risk management is pretty much the key to any kind of investment. So before we think of the returns, we should think of the risk before getting into any kind of investment. Always have a financial advisor who will be talking about the risk before he talks about the returns. Always a safer way to go.
That's a very important advice. I think everybody always looks at it the other way around, right? You're always looking at returns first. But thank you so much. And with that, we come to the end of today's session. Big thank you once again to Vijay for all the insights and great hidden gems, which we can all use. We hope you enjoyed the session, found it extremely beneficial. Any comments you have, any feedback, please let us know. And please do follow Gulf Business on all our social media platforms. We are at Gulf Business on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and at Gulf Business Magazine on Instagram. Thanks and have a great day.